Life doesn't have to be perfect. Hello everyone. Today, we would like to share some meaningful life lessons through a few stories. Story 1, Life doesn't need to be perfect, inner peace is enough. Dear friends, Saussure once said, people experience joy and sorrow, separation and reunion, the moon waxes and wanes. Life has never been flawless. In reality, life doesn't need to be perfect, as perfection can sometimes strip away its natural beauty. As the saying goes, when water overflows, it spills, when flowers fully bloom, they wither. Perfection can make one fragile. Even Mo Yen remarked, the most taboo thing in life is absolute perfection. Look at the moon. The moment it becomes full, it starts to wane. Similarly, when fruits ripen, they fall from the tree. Therefore, leaving a little room or imperfection ensures longevity. The best life isn't perfect but complete enough. A word spoken need not be absolute. As the ancients said, know someone without revealing everything, saying too much may ruin it. Choose people without excessive scrutiny, overly strict standards may drive others away. While speaking, leave some space for others to reflect. Those who understand will naturally grasp your meaning and appreciate you more. Those who don't won't cause lasting harm to the relationship. Take the story of the master painter Zhang Daqian as an example. He painted the artwork Cicada Perched on Willow, depicting a cicada bowing its head on a willow branch. Qi Baishe praised it but subtly remarked that cicadas usually face upward. Zhang observed nature and confirmed this. When he told Qi, the latter revealed he already knew but chose not to embarrass him. This story shows the elegance of speaking tactfully and maintaining dignity for others while displaying self-cultivation. Pursuing absolute perfection often leads to dissatisfaction and regrets. Life's best state is to leave room for growth and flexibility. Story 2, Don't let negative emotions break you, learn to master yourself. The way to overcome pain is by understanding your true emotions. Don't always let negative feelings overwhelm you, and above all, don't fear or try to hide your genuine emotions. My father is someone who enjoys being a benefactor, always helping others. A friend of mine once found it hard to believe this. He often said, "You're so lucky to have grown up in such a wonderful family," while I felt unlucky in my own life. This created a bias within me. I assumed I was happy blending with others, but in reality, I didn't feel that way most of the time. This left me very frustrated because the emotions I felt inside didn't match the outward display of joy and happiness I showed to the world. Therefore, if you want to overcome such inner struggles, you must confront your true emotions. However, many people keep their true feelings locked away out of fear. Without fear, it would be much easier to acknowledge and face your emotions. When we have a low sense of self-worth or struggle with anxiety, we should consider whether the emotions we're currently experiencing contradict our deeper feelings. If not, why should it be so hard to face them? First, we must truly understand our genuine emotions without fear or attempts to conceal them. If it hurts, don't force yourself to feel happy, trust yourself, and you will overcome it. Of course, this is not an easy process because we often fear that others will reject our true selves. We avoid being true to ourselves out of fear of judgment. This mindset can trap us in a lifelong cycle of insecurity. When you believe in yourself and understand your true emotions, you no longer have to pretend, even to yourself. People who trust themselves don't allow themselves to be victims of others' immature emotional impositions. On the other hand, those who lack self-belief bow to superiors and treat subordinates the same way, ignoring others' true essence and forcing them to conform. Great leaders help their subordinates live authentically instead of compelling them to become something they're not. In contrast, a leader who demands subordinates fake a personality to conform is emotionally immature. To enrich your soul, understand this: emotionally immature people who lack self-trust often impose their expectations on weaker individuals. Most of them aim to make others align with their preferences for their own convenience. Their attitude essentially says, "You just need to be what I want, I don't care about who you really are." This serves their convenience and validates their own existence. These individuals often feel deeply uncomfortable within themselves. They lack a true sense of being alive and cannot affirm their existence without external validation. The more this happens, the more their desires grow, for instance, to confirm, "I truly am good," or to feel alive and develop a meaningful identity. These desires are all fundamentally the same. Such people try to achieve self-fulfillment through those they deem inferior. Parents who treat their children as tools to validate their existence act similarly, imposing their will on their kids. If you feel restless or anxious, you need to understand that any perceived disconnect from your true self is likely the result of those around you creating a convenient image and forcing it onto you. Suppose parents have such unhealthy mentalities, how can they raise their children with genuine compassion and sacrifice their real selves for the sake of maintaining an ideal appearance? It means you've become a victim of emotionally immature adults since childhood. In doing so, you've grown to trust these immature individuals more than you trust yourself, regardless of whether you eventually learn to believe in yourself. Start by deciding to believe in yourself and let go of the need to show others a false version of yourself. Once you understand your true emotions, dedicate yourself to living authentically. If you hate something, acknowledge it openly. Some may argue that openly expressing likes and dislikes could disrupt social harmony. While this concern has merit, our discussion focuses on those dealing with anxiety and psychological challenges. Like physical illnesses requiring targeted treatment, psychological struggles call for specific approaches. Facing your truth and accepting yourself is essential for emotional recovery. Life isn't about forcing yourself to like what you dislike or pretending to accept what you can't. You don't need to labor to accept things you dislike. When you're unhappy, allow yourself to feel unhappy. Above all, focus on understanding and being true to yourself. When it comes to emotional growth, the needs of adults and children differ. People with autonomic disorders often have emotional ages significantly lower than their physical or social ages. Thus, expecting them to behave like their peers is unrealistic. The priority should be to help them mature. Although someone might physically appear as an adult, they may still be emotionally a child. If we blindly expect them to act like grown-ups, they may never resolve their life challenges. Children are inherently self-centered. As they grow, they adjust their behavior through interactions with their environment, learning to overcome this trait. True adults are those who no longer focus solely on themselves. Only then can they cultivate care for others and consider different perspectives. Unfortunately, many adults still see themselves as the center of the universe and fail to think of others. These individuals make their inner lives increasingly peculiar. To behave kindly and maturely, they must make conscious efforts to grow emotionally. Story 3: As you step into life, remember a few simple truths. When buying fruit, avoid those that look overly polished. When meeting strangers, maintain a gentle smile but keep your thoughts to yourself. When choosing companions, observe how they treat the vulnerable. When giving gifts, don't just focus on appearance, consider the deeper meaning. When hosting loved ones, reserve a little space for yourself, don't reveal everything. Your monthly income doesn't matter as much as how well you manage it. Let me tell you a small story. A young man who had been working far from home visited his hometown after a long time. His aunt asked him, "How's work this month? Are you earning well?" Knowing he was struggling and that her own children were going through tough times, the young man smiled and replied, "Auntie, it's been a tough year. I'm only earning about 5 million a month. Hearing this, his aunt smiled warmly and asked no further questions. Deep inside, she felt reassured because the amount didn't seem too different from her children's earnings and wouldn't make them feel inferior. This seemingly small story teaches us a significant lesson: not everything needs to be shared. Sharing is an art, and sometimes holding back is a way to protect both yourself and others. In life, human emotions are unpredictable and cannot always be measured rationally. The best relationships aren't those without boundaries but those with the right distance. Sometimes, step back and view things from a distance to avoid getting entangled in unnecessary matters. Acquaintances can sometimes be more intimidating than strangers because, knowing you too well, they might exploit or judge everything you do. Therefore, knowing what to share and what to keep private is crucial. In this world, the most valuable things aren't power or money but the ability to inspire others to think and admire you. Life doesn't always go as planned, but small insights can help avoid many troubles. When buying fresh flowers, do it early in the morning when they're newly picked and stay fresh longer. The human heart is deep like the ocean, and distance is the key to keeping things from sinking into chaos. In life, there are moments when you need to stop, not to give up, but to see things more clearly. While waiting in a long line to buy something, don't get frustrated, use the time to reflect on your next plans. When stuck in traffic, instead of frowning, play your favorite music, relax, and let things flow as they will. During an argument, if no common ground can be found, stay calm. Sometimes, stopping to listen reveals solutions you hadn't seen before. When working and facing challenges, don't lose heart. Every difficulty is a chance to learn and grow. In conversations, if someone doesn't understand you, don't rush to explain. Some things take time for others to truly feel and understand. Story 4. The lesson of patience. There was a young carpenter who always wanted things to be done quickly and efficiently. One day, he was tasked with crafting a wooden chair for a wealthy family. Eager to complete the task, he began working immediately without carefully measuring or double-checking each detail. After a few days, the chair was finished, but when delivered to the client, it didn't fit the room's space, and one leg was loose. The carpenter had to redo the entire chair, spending several more days fixing it to meet the requirements. He realized that if he had taken extra time at the beginning to carefully check every detail, he wouldn't have had to spend double the time on repairs. From then on, he changed his approach to work, learning to be more patient and to pay attention to even the smallest steps. As a result, his craftsmanship improved, and he earned more trust from his clients. Lesson: haste often leads to greater mistakes. Patience is the key to perfection. Sometimes, all you need is a little extra time to double-check and adjust everything to ensure accuracy. Calmness and carefulness lead to better results. Instead of rushing against time, learn to manage it wisely. Life doesn't demand that you finish everything quickly but that you complete things with the highest quality possible. Along the way, patience and calmness are invaluable traits that help you avoid unnecessary troubles and improve yourself daily. Don't let haste push you into regrettable mistakes. Learn to master time and savor each step of the process, as the most valuable outcomes rarely come from rushing. In life, there are things we often overlook or take for granted, but they are among the most precious. When you wake up in the morning, instead of rushing into the day, take a moment to be thankful for another day to live and experience. When eating a simple meal, appreciate the food before you, as not everyone has the means to enjoy a complete meal. When talking to your parents or loved ones, listen attentively because they won't always be by your side. When someone helps you, even with a small favor, always say thank you because kindness doesn't always come naturally. When you have good health, don't forget to care for yourself because health is the most valuable asset money can't buy. Story 5, The Lesson of Gratitude. There was a boy who lived in a wealthy family. He had everything: toys, fine clothes, and delicious meals. Yet, he never seemed to appreciate what he had. Every time his parents bought him something new, he would play with it for a few days and then discard it without considering its value. One day, the boy visited his grandparents in the countryside. There, he met another boy who lived in a modest home and had very few toys, only a handmade kite. Yet, the countryside boy was cheerful, running across the fields with his kite and a bright smile. The city boy asked in surprise, "Why aren't you sad that you don't have many toys like me?" The countryside boy replied, "I don't need much. I just love what I have and treasure it." After that trip, the city boy realized that happiness doesn't come from having more but from appreciating what you already have. Life isn't always easy, and sometimes we chase big things while forgetting the value of simple ones. Gratitude not only makes you happier but also helps you connect better with those around you. Be thankful for each day you're alive, for the food you eat, and for the time you spend with family and friends. These things don't come naturally, and cherishing them is the best way to live a meaningful life. In life, there are times when we are hurt, betrayed, or treated unfairly. In those moments, you have two choices: hold on to resentment or learn to forgive and let go. When someone speaks ill of you, instead of retaliating, reflect on how you can improve yourself. When a friend betrays your trust, ask yourself if forgiveness is possible and if you can move on without carrying the burden of resentment. When facing challenges at work, instead of blaming others, identify the root cause and strive to overcome it. When someone makes a mistake, remember that everyone errs at times and deserves a chance to make things right. And when you make mistakes yourself, don't be too harsh on yourself. Learn to forgive your own shortcomings so you can move forward. Story 6, The Lesson of Forgiveness and Letting Go. An elderly man lived in a small village. Over his lifetime, he experienced many hardships, including betrayal by his closest friend. They had once been inseparable, but after a major argument, his friend betrayed him, leaving him deeply hurt. Years passed, but the old man couldn't forgive his friend. He constantly dwelled on the past, his heart weighed down by resentment. Though his life seemed peaceful on the surface, he was unable to truly enjoy it. One day, a monk passed through the village and noticed the man's sorrowful expression. The monk asked why he seemed so burdened. The man recounted the story of his friend's betrayal. After listening, the monk gently said, "Do you know why you are still suffering? It's because you're holding tightly to those painful memories. If you don't let go, the pain will never leave you." The old man reflected on these words and realized that he had imprisoned himself in his own memories. He decided to forgive his old friend, not for the friend's sake, but to free himself from the lingering resentment. From that moment on, he lived more peacefully and happily, no longer haunted by his past. Lesson: life is full of challenges and conflicts, but forgiveness and letting go are the keys to freeing your soul from unnecessary burdens. Don't let the mistakes of others, or your own, rob you of life's joy. Learn to forgive and let go. Life is short, and what truly matters is the peace within your soul, not the painful memories of the past. Story 7, The Power of Persistence. There was a man named Nam who dreamed of becoming a professional marathon runner. However, he was not naturally gifted in sports. In the early days of training, Nam could only run a few kilometers before gasping for breath, with aching legs and exhaustion. Many times, he wanted to quit, believing he wasn't capable enough. Instead of giving up, Nam decided to challenge himself a little each day. At first, he set a goal of running 500 meters more than the previous day. Gradually, he increased the distance step by step. Over time, he was able to run 5 kilometers, then 10 kilometers. After months of relentless effort, Nam completed his first marathon. He didn't finish first, but for him, the most important victory was overcoming his own limits. The importance of perseverance. Life's journey is not always smooth. There will be times when you feel like giving up, when hope seems lost, and when challenges seem insurmountable. But sometimes, all you need to do is persevere a little longer to overcome the final hurdle and reach success. When faced with a difficult problem you can't solve immediately, don't give up. Try looking at it from a different perspective. You might find the answer is just one step away. When learning something new, even if it feels overwhelming, be persistent. Mastery takes time and effort. When you face failure in your work or a project, instead of giving up, analyze your mistakes and look for ways to improve. Success often follows repeated attempts. When you feel tired and tempted to quit, remind yourself of why you started. Sometimes, simply recalling your initial motivation is enough to reignite your determination. Lesson: life will sometimes challenge you to the point where you want to give up, but those challenges are opportunities to demonstrate your persistence and strength. Success doesn't come from giant leaps but from small, consistent steps. Persevere, because success is not about how quickly you reach the finish line but about refusing to quit, no matter how tough the journey. Story 8, A Small Act of Kindness. There was a young boy who lived in a small village. One day, on his way home from school, he saw an elderly man sitting by the roadside, looking tired and hungry. The boy had only one apple in his pocket, the lunch he had saved for the afternoon. After a moment of hesitation, he approached the man and offered him the apple. The old man smiled, accepted the apple, and thanked the boy sincerely. Though the boy knew he would go hungry until dinner, he felt immense happiness for doing something good. Years later, the boy grew up to become a successful and well-loved man. One day, an elderly man came to meet him. It was the same man he had helped years ago. The old man remembered the small act of kindness and returned to express his gratitude for the boy's selfless generosity. In life, it's not always about what you receive, but also about what you give. Sometimes, a small act can create a big impact on someone else. When you have more than you need, share with those around you, as not everyone is as fortunate as you. When you see someone in need of help, don't hesitate to lend a hand. Even a small gesture can brighten their day. When you possess useful knowledge, share it with others. Sharing knowledge doesn't diminish what you have but instead helps the community grow. When you feel happy, spread that joy to others. Positive energy inspires and motivates those around you. When someone comes to you for advice, listen sincerely. Sometimes, people don't need advice but just a listening ear and genuine care. Lesson: even the smallest acts of kindness can create a significant difference. It's not the material value of what you give that matters, but the sincerity and compassion behind it. In our busy lives, we often forget that helping and sharing with others not only brings them joy but also makes our own lives more fulfilling. Give without expecting anything in return, for kindness is a priceless gift in the eyes of others. A small gesture can brighten someone else's day, and yours too. Story 9, The Power of Listening. There was a boy named Min, who took great pride in his ability to speak and present ideas. Min often enjoyed standing in front of a crowd to express his opinions. However, he had a bad habit: he rarely listened to others, frequently interrupting and steering the conversation toward his own ideas. One day, Min participated in a school debate competition. The contest required participants not only to present their own views but also to listen and respond to their opponents' arguments. Confident in his creative ideas, Min believed he would easily win. During the debate, however, Min focused solely on expressing his views and ignored what his opponent said. As a result, his opponent easily countered his points and won the competition. After the competition, Min realized that listening is not a secondary skill but the most crucial element in any dialogue. From then on, he began practicing active listening and noticed significant improvements in his relationships with friends, teachers, and family. People felt more comfortable talking to Min because they knew he truly listened to them. In life, everyone wants to be heard and feel valued. Listening helps you build better relationships and makes others feel respected and cared for. Sometimes, listening is more valuable than offering advice. Listen not only with your ears but also with your heart. Genuine listening is a bridge that helps you create lasting connections and fosters deeper understanding in life. The importance of listening in today's fast-paced world. We are often so preoccupied with our own concerns that we forget an important principle: listening to others. True listening is not just hearing words but understanding and empathizing with the emotions and thoughts behind them. When someone comes to you to share something, don't listen half-heartedly. Show them you're truly paying attention by focusing and avoiding distractions. When someone expresses an opinion that differs from yours, instead of reacting immediately, listen to their whole story before responding. This will help you understand them better and prevent misunderstandings. When friends or family face difficulties, sometimes what they need most isn't advice but someone to listen and share their burdens. In teamwork, listening to everyone's ideas creates a collaborative and creative environment. Each person has unique perspectives you can learn from. In relationships, listening to both sides is crucial. Many misunderstandings arise from a failure to hear one another, and this can damage important relationships. Listening is an act of kindness and understanding. It strengthens connections, fosters trust, and creates harmony in every aspect of life. Lesson learned: life doesn't need to be perfect to be meaningful. Mistakes and imperfections are a natural part of the journey of growth. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on cherishing small moments, precious relationships, and the things that bring you joy. Remember, your worth is not measured by achievements or praise from others but by how you love, share, and face challenges. It's the imperfections that make life unique and worth living.